Naila, why is English language important to learn?
This is because English language is an international language and is widely followed and understood by people across the world.
I want to learn this language.
To learn every language, there are some skills to develop. Follow this class to learn these skills.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, our viewers of MTA Africa. We welcome you once again to our program English for Junior High School. We are on the lesson Guidelines to Essay Writing. Today we are going to look at the outline of another form of essay. Class, we welcome you to the program. Lesson 7. But before we go to the details of the lesson for today, let us have a review exercise to remind ourselves of what we did the previous lessons. You are to comment on whether or not the following set up on sender's address, date and salutation are correct. So what we are going to see are made of the sender's address, date and then salutation. So you tell me whether it is correct or wrong. And whatever is wrong with it, you mention it to me. So this is it. Let's start with the address. The way it is written, is it correct? You put up your hand and then you respond to it. Yes, Hajara?
No.
What is wrong with it?
They are not in line.
Speak up, please.
They are not in line. And then the punctuation, some are punctuated, others are not.
Okay. Yes, any other comment on that? Yes, Hafiz.
Yes. When it's a slanted address, it should the last one should come in front small.
Which is the last one?
The one after the
last line of your address.
Yes.
Okay.
It should move in front.
Move to where?
It should go start from
move
where
a little
the
bit.
Office.
Okay.
And the second, the post office box, that place not punctuated.
It's not punctuated. Good. That is true. So it is not a correctly written address. There's something wrong with the punctuation. The first line is punctuated, but the second one is left unpunctuated. And then the third one, what is there, is also not correct. Good. What of the date? Where it is written, is it correct? Sarah, is it correctly written, the position?
Yes, sir.
Josefa, do you agree with her? Yes, sir. Yes? Hajara?
No.
No. Okay, what is wrong with it?
The date should be right under the beginning of the address.
Okay, the date should align with the address. So where it is positioned is wrong. It's not correct. So take note. If you write like this, you can lose marks. It's not correctly written. Good. Now let's come to the salutation. That is our margin over there. Where the salutation is written and the way it is written, is it correct? Yes, Orchard?
Sir, please, no.
What's wrong with it?
Sir, please, the salutation should be written at the edge
of the margin, close to the margin.
Yes, sir. And
okay.
It must not be punctuated.
Salutation? Are you sure? It's true that it should be closer to the margin. It has been moved away from the margin, like a paragraph is about to be created. That is wrong. You don't do that. And then you see after high, the space between the high and ama is unusual. It's not the correct way of spacing. So that is also what is also wrong with it. It should be punctuated. Watch out. Salutation is supposed to take a comma, a compulsory comma. Go and revise your note. These are how some of you in school write? So you don't write something like this. Good. Any question on this before we move to the next one? Okay. Then let's look at the next one. Yes. Is it correctly written? Let's start with the address first. The way the address is written, is it correct? Sarah?
Sir, please no.
What is wrong with it?
Sir, there must be full stop at the end of the address.
Okay, here.
Yes, sir.
There should be a full stop here. But over here, the candidate or whoever is writing it has left it out. And therefore, it's also wrong. You can lose marks. You either decide not to punctuate, or if you begin to punctuate, you take note there should be full stop here, because that's the last thing of the address. The date, what's wrong with it? Or is it correct? Hafiz, what's wrong with the date?
The date should be in line with the first, this one.
The first line of the address, good. That is one. Any other thing wrong with it? So the date should move in line with these. Should be here. Any other thing wrong with the date? Yes, Ajara?
At the end of the date, there was no full stop.
There's no full stop. Meanwhile, there should be a full stop at the end of what? The date. Good. Then the salutation. Is it correct? Yes, Hafiz, is the salutation correct?
No.
What is wrong with it?
After the hello, there should be some space.
Yeah, there's already a space there. This is a normal spacing.
And there is no comma.
Okay, there's no comma after the salutation. There should be a compulsory comma after the salutation. Is that all? There's something also wrong with it. Yeah, Sarah?
Sir, the C of the crest should be in capital.
Good. The C should be what? In capital. We mentioned that every word of the salutation should begin in what? In capital. Good. So these are just review exercises to remind us of some of the errors students commit. Now let's go to the lesson for the day. Today we are going to look at outline of formal letters. We are going to have it in two parts. So look at the part 1 in our first lesson. Then we'll look at part 2 in our next lesson. The objective of our lesson is that by the end of the presentations, that's the 2 lessons, we should be able to distinguish between formal letter from informal letter. We did formal letters. And that was a review exercise, a little bit we had. The outline. We are now going to look at the outline of informal letters. So after we have finished going through that, it should be clear to you that formal letter is different from what? Informal letter. You should be able to distinguish that. Then you should be able to identify the various parts of formal letters. Formal letters have parts, just like informal. You should be able to identify. And then we should be able to correctly sketch the outline of any formal letter. So that's also very important. Now let's look at formal letters. We say these are letters written to people in positions. If you occupy a position and a letter is written to you because of that position, it's a formal letter. We say such letters do not concern themselves with family relationship or friendship. It is not because you have a family relationship with a person. It isn't also because the person is your friend you are writing to, but you are writing because the person is occupy a particular what? Position. Right? Let's say, for example, your father is a district chief executive for your district. That's your father. If you are writing to him as a father, that is not a formal letter. But if you are writing to him as the district chief executive, then it becomes what? A formal letter. Do you understand me? Yes. You are writing to someone in position, and mostly the position is mentioned. Good. We say we write such letters to others because they hold some kind of position in a way. You are writing to the person because the person holds what? A position. The person can be of the same age with you. Like in school, you have your senior prefect, right? Good. You are writing to the person because the person is holding a prefectorial position. The person has a position in the school, so you are writing to the person. Good. We are saying some common positions we have may include in communities or town. We have people holding position like chief or a youth leader. In constituency, we may have a member of parliament there as a position someone is occupying. With just continuation, so as I mentioned, in a community, it could be a chief. You can have a chief, you can have a youth leader, you can even have a community leader in a community. At least every community has a chief, right? Good. So you are writing to the person because the person is a chief. That's a position the person is occupying. Then in constituency, like a member of parliament, an assemblyman, or any position within the constituency, this is political demarcations. And you are expected to learn these political demarcations in the country, the political map of various countries, and especially the country you originate from. Good. Other places, they may not be using member of parliament or assemblyman, but still they have that demarcations. Then at the district level, in Ghana here, we have district demarcations. Other places, they have different demarcations, and we have people occupying such positions. You can be a member of a chief executive there. You can be a director of any of the ministries. For example, in Ghana, we can have a director of Ministry of Education. We have a director for Ministry of Health in those places. Then we have at regional or zonal level, some countries are divided into regions. Some are divided into zones. We have that. Some are even also divided into states. So you can have positions like regional or zonal ministers, regional or zonal directors of institutions. So people occupying such positions. Then we can have people occupying positions at a national level, like the president. You get that? And another position that the whole nation is under you as far as that activity is concerned. So we have such positions there. They also have positions in institutions. Institutions like schools and workplaces, hospitals, and all those. We have people occupying positions such as that. And you may be required to write to them. These are examples of institutions like hospitals, the media houses we have people occupying positions there. As example, at MTA we have people occupying positions. We definitely will have the director. You have people occupying various positions at each of the departments. So when you are writing to such people, it is a formal letter. Any question? These are not all the positions we have. These are just examples of them. So you take note of that. But if you have any question about positions, ask and let's move on. Okay, let me find out from which other position do you know that people do occupy, but we haven't actually mentioned it. Which other one in mind?
But the first one, I want to ask whether a king can be.
Yes, a chief or a king. Some places they call chief, some places king. So yes, a chief or a king is the same thing, right? Yes, good. But they also, depending on the area, they have slight differences between a king and a chief, depending on the area. Good. Any other? Josefa? Okay, then let's go on. We said that formal letters are also termed business letters or what? Official letters in the world of business. In schools, we mostly say formal letter, formal letter. But outside school, mostly we say business letters or official what? Letters. Mostly. Outside school, that's what you hear people say. Oh, I'm writing an official letter. Oh, write an official letter. Do you get that? Or a business letter. So the three words or terminologies mean the same. Formal letters, the same as business letters or what? Official what? Letters. So when you are out of school and someone asks you to write an official letter, it means the person is asking you to write what? A formal what? Letter. Good. We say formal letters are strictly formal in nature. That's very, very important. When we talk of formal letters, it's strictly formal. So take note of that. So the following paragraph explains further. We shall use the paragraphs we are coming to explain to let us know what we mean in terms of outline, what a formal letter should look like. Any question? Okay, so let's look at that. Now the outline, we say official letters have the following parts. Before I write them or we show them, tell me the parts an official letter should have or you think it has. Yes, Orchard.
Writer's address.
We have writers. Good. Hafiz.
The date.
Okay. You should have date. Good. Sarah. Any? Just mention them, not necessarily in order.
Subscription.
You should have subscription. Good. Yes, Josefa?
The recipient's address.
The recipient address. Good. So, receiver's address. Yes, Hajara?
Salutation.
You should have salutation. Good. Good. That's very good. So, there are others that you haven't mentioned probably, but we shall look at. So, you should have the sender's address or the writer's what? Address, which you have mentioned. That's very good. Then you should have date. There should be date. Then you should have the receiver's address, the one who is going to receive what? The message. The person's address should be there. And then you should have salutation, which you mentioned. That's good. Then you should have heading or what? Title. That one you didn't mention, but that is also one thing that you should have. Then there should be body. That one obviously you should know that, right? Good. Then you should have the subscription, which you also mentioned. Then there should be full name and what? Signature. There should be full name and signature. Good. I'm going to give you an assignment for you to do. And that is, having mentioned that there should be all these things, get a fresh page and write out the various parts as you think it should be. And then I will cross-check. Viewers at home, you should also take part in the exercise. The slide points to us the various parts of formal letters. Get a paper and a pen and set out the various parts. so that in our next lesson we shall find out whether we were able to correctly sketch them or there were errors. When you are done, show it to someone around you to correct the mistakes or to pass comment for you. When you are done, you let me know. Yes, who has finished? No, don't write these ones. Set them out. I'm not asking you to write this. It will take time. Don't write them. Just senders. There should be sender's address. Write the sender's address. There should be date. Put your date there. There should be receiver's address. Put your receiver's address. There should be salutation. Put your salutation. Put the various things in their correct order. If you want to write the whole question before you do the assignment, time will not permit us. You should set out your sender's address. You set out your date. Have you finished? Yes. Yes, you have tried your best, but you see, you didn't get space. You see, the way you started it, you didn't get space to complete the first line of your address. So that tells you that don't push it too close, right? So you have to do it again. But apart from that side, you didn't also punctuate your date at the end. So these are the two errors there, but the others are correct. So do the correcting. Use the next, yes, no, not the next page, right? So you leave some few space and do the correcting there, since you still have some time. Yeah, Hafiz, you are left with subscription and full name and signature. Yours, you didn't have it. Okay, you have tried your best. But there's something wrong with your sender's address. So you didn't punctuate it. These are some of the things. But the way you set out your recipient's address, that's the receiver's address, is wrong. That is one. And the way you have written your salutation is also wrong. Close to the margin. You have left the space there. And the way you wrote your heading is also wrong. We don't write heading like this. By your salutation, your subscription, the full name, here is correct. You have one or two things correct. Subscription. Before your full name and signature, I see subscription. Before full name and signature. But you didn't bring subscription. You brought only your full name and signature. Good. Yes, Josefa? Okay. There's no problem with your sender's address and date. Everything is rightly written. Your receiver's address too. There's no problem with it, but you don't need date. You see, the date that we have only one date. There's no date after the receiver's address. So that is wrong there. Wrong thing there. And then you don't have salutation, but you have heading. But the way you wrote your heading too is wrong. You have your subscription, that's good. Okay. Fine. Your full name is there in signature, but actually you should sign before the full name. Probably because of the way I wrote full name and signature. So it's hard to write your full name before you sign, but you sign before your full name. So you have done well. Let's go try. Okay, Ochad, let me see yours. Yes. Good. Which one? This? There's something wrong with your date. Your sender's address, almost everything is correct, but your date, you didn't punctuate it, so there's something wrong there. Your receiver's address, you didn't punctuate well. The last line of your receiver's address doesn't carry a period, a full stop. Your salutation, you wrote it wrongly, and your heading is also not written correctly. The way you wrote yours faithfully is also wrong. So, good. Viewers at home, I know you would have done your best. There may be 1 or 2 errors. That is okay. The most important thing is that you try doing something. Our next lesson, we shall try to look at the outline of the formal letters, and the areas we have set out, we shall see how they should be written. Until then, we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.